I never thought I would be saying this when I started my journey reading Naruto. Kenjaku, you need to start taking notes from Orochimaru. This is what a real body hopping maniac looks like. Welcome back everyone. In today's video, I'll be going over my thoughts on the Konoha Crush and Search for Tsunade arcs. The Konoha Crush arc is Orochimaru's moment of standing on business. Honestly, anytime Orochimaru is involved, Konoha turns chaotic. As a result, this arc contains the highest stakes in the series thus far, allowing for a lot of characters to get some great moments since shit has hit the fan and they need to lock in. Now when I say locked in, I'm mostly talking about Shikamaru. He doesn't do a lot in this arc, but he still managed to be a standout character I wanted to talk about in relation to this arc. In the tuning exam, Shikamaru's talent for being a leader was foreshadowed, and in Konoha Crush, I got to witness these skills. He's very quick to analyze his party's strengths and weaknesses, showcasing his quick thinking that I believe will become integral in later arcs. Also, the moment when Shikamaru suggests a decoy plan, I love that he immediately volunteers himself. The dude might portray himself as lazy and constantly complains, but when it comes to his comrades' lives, he always takes things seriously. Taking on the role of a righteous leader that is willing to sacrifice himself without question, it's admirable. I wonder how long it will take before Shikamaru is giving the cast Erwin level speeches on the battlefield. Now, during this arc, there are two major plot lines that take place simultaneously, that being Gaara versus Naruto and Sasuke, and Orochimaru versus Sarutobi. I'll talk about the Gaara fight first, then the Orochimaru fight afterwards. Now, while I did say that the fight was Gaara versus Naruto and Sasuke, it is mostly Naruto who is his sole opposition against Gaara. As Gaara is slowly losing his mind and tweaking out, Sasuke is just there to stall until Naruto's arrival. However, I'm not implying that Sasuke's portion of the fight is pointless. There are a lot of good moments during this section. Gaara and Sasuke's altercation is more of a continuation of where we left off in the tuning exams, two individuals who understand the pain of loneliness fighting to the death to validate their own existence. As Gaara questions the resolve of Sasuke's hatred, Sasuke begins to regress back to his old mindset. It is disappointing to see Sasuke give in to his hatred again. Naruto's influence seemed to be changing Sasuke for the better. Also, when I say disappointing in this context, I'm referring to Sasuke as a person, not that I'm disappointed in the writing decision, because I do believe that Sasuke needs to go down a dark path in order for Naruto to inevitably free him from this curse of hatred his brother placed on him. Currently, Naruto has a pretty simple formula where the protagonist is basically going through this gauntlet of opponents who embrace hatred, and through battle, the protagonist proves that a belief centered around hatred is incorrect. With that interpretation in mind, I did enjoy the aspect of two characters that oppose the story's main message duking it out. There's some cool action moments like Sasuke using the fireball jutsu and Sasuke using his third Chidori in a day. Now after Sasuke's turn against Gaara is over, the true star of the show appears. In my last video, I talked about my excitement towards Naruto and Gaara's inevitable clash, and it did deliver. Kishimoto, you mad lad. I have full faith in your capabilities as a writer. The clash between these two pays off so well thanks to the new information presented in Gaara's backstory. Gaara's backstory is so messed up. Characters in this series are ruthless. Throughout this entire backstory, I really thought that Yashimaru loved Gaara, so I was under the impression that the tragedy of this backstory was that Gaara's father had taken away everything Gaara loved, but no, this series is twisted as hell. When Yashimaru tells Gaara that the attempt to kill him was out of his own free will, that it wasn't strictly him carrying out his father's orders, I was surprised. He straight up told this kid that he hated him and that his mother named him Gaara not out of love, but as a reminder of her hatred. Like telling a mentally unstable kid, no, you were never loved, is crazy. Yashimaru didn't have to do all of that. The series continues to surprise me with how unhinged it can be. A lot of shonen series will try to bring forth a sob story for a character that has committed heinous actions in an attempt to later redeem them. Here it works because Gaara is genuinely a victim. 130 chapters deep into a 700 chapter series, and these backstories are already on a high level when it comes to how dark they are. Like Kishimoto, how far will your ceiling go? How dark is this series going to get? Thankfully, Naruto exists to balance things out. I really like chapter 132 where Naruto thinks back on his life so far until this point, meeting people that acknowledged him, taught him that it was okay for him to exist. Thus, it's all the more reason why Naruto can't lose to someone like Gaara. Naruto's performance during this fight is insane as well, creating a whopping 6,000 doppelgangers on the spot to achieve a jumping that would put anything in Jujutsu Kaisen to shame. But this isn't even the best part of the fight. I never thought that I would be getting a kaiju battle in this series, but I'm not complaining. The design of Gaara in his Shukaku form is awesome, plus there's some cool action double page spreads during this section. Like, who wouldn't get hyped from seeing a giant toad fight some gigantic demonic beast? Also, Naruto's final stand against Gaara was one of the best emotional peaks in the series so far, so overall this was a really strong fight. The conclusion of this battle was interesting because it seems that Gaara's character isn't complete yet, so I wonder how Kishimoto is going to handle Gaara's redemption arc. Now, the Orochimaru fight is just as good. Orochimaru has to be the greatest hater in this series. When I learned that Orochimaru was committing all of these acts of terrorism because he wasn't selected to be the fourth Hokage, I laughed. I don't know why Orochimaru was surprised though. The man was kidnapping people in the village and doing live human experiments for his Jujutsu research, all in an effort to become immortal. So basically Orochimaru is the original Kenjaku. Also, it's now confirmed why Orochimaru was obsessed with Sasuke so much, as he is planning to take over this kid's body. Orochimaru grooms kids and then takes over their bodies. The man is sick in the head. This fight is also when the trend of absolutely disgusting power creep enters the series, because the Edo Tensei technique is broken. It took Sarutobi having to use a forbidden jutsu at the cost of his life in order to stop Orochimaru. I think Kishimoto realized how broken the Edo Tensei technique was, so he immediately had Orochimaru's jutsu be sealed in the same arc. Like, how do you beat someone that can summon Hokage from the past to fight for you? Well, I say that, and then the next arc said, let's increase the scale of these abilities even further, but I'll get more into that later. After the Orochimaru fight, the arc concludes with a funeral for Sarutobi that further drives home the theme of the future generation carrying on the dreams of the previous generation. It's a bittersweet end to an arc where the figurehead of the nation is assassinated. Overall, Konoha Crush is another good arc in Naruto, meaning that so far Naruto has not a single bad arc. Now, in my last video, I talked about how much I love the politics in Naruto, and that love continues to grow thanks to the next arc, Search for Tsunade. Even after the Hokage's death, the world doesn't stop moving. Konoha village strength has lowered and needs a new Hokage immediately so that neighboring nations don't make any bold moves. As Jiraiya nominates his former colleague Tsunade to take on the role of Hokage, so Jiraiya and Naruto go on a mission to find her. But before that, remember when I talked about power creep in this series? Yeah, it gets worse. Itachi scares me because the Tsukuyomi is broken, a dreamscape where Itachi can control space and time. Keep in mind, this is only 142 chapters deep into a 700 chapter series. Again, space and time abilities where you can break someone's mind through 72 hours of torture. Are niggas going to be flying around in space like this is Dragon Ball Z end of series? Like, I'm really worried about how characters are going to be able to keep up with this level of power creep. Like, what are we doing? When I open that panel and I just see this Tsukuyomi and I'm hearing how Itachi's explaining this, I'm like, what are we doing? This is cracked. It's too early for this. It's too early for this. But again, hopefully I'm wrong. I'm gonna wait and see, but the power creep is nasty in this series. It's really nasty. Now, on the topic of Itachi, Sasuke runs into him during this arc and Sasuke gets his ass beat. During this encounter, Itachi tells Sasuke that he needs more hatred. So I don't really have any thoughts about this right now. I will simply sit back and observe. Moving on, I'll talk about some other characters in this arc. Now, my previous hate for Jiraiya is starting to lessen as the story progresses, because when Jiraiya isn't being a peeping Tom, he's actually a really fun character. Shocker, I know. And Kishimoto seemed to have toned down that aspect of Jiraiya's character. He's still a pervert, but he stopped doing all that weird shit similar to his initial introduction. Like, you could have a character be a pervert and not be a sex freak. When Jiraiya tells Naruto that the three vices that can destroy a shinobi are drinking, women, and money, but then moments later Jiraiya is caught wasting money at the club, that is funny. So hopefully Kishimoto continues to write Jiraiya's gag in this way, because if I have to deal with Sanji level terrorism again, I might lose my mind. Like, Sanji post time skip, oh my god, that nigga is ass. It's so bad. I pray Kishimoto, don't do that. I can't go through that again, please.
I said, bro, I can't take it. I can't take it. I can't. I'm a human. I'm a human being. I can't.
Aside from the improvement towards Jiraiya's gag, I also love how he's utilized in this arc. His purpose is to mentor Naruto and increase the protagonist's toolkit. This arc is also where Naruto's iconic ability, the Rasengan, is introduced. The 5 chapters of training were fun to read, plus Rasengan is easily the coolest ability in this series so far. One aspect I really like about this arc as well is that because Orochimaru and Jiraiya are nerfed for a good portion of it, Naruto has a reasonable reason in story for why he is able to get some focus in these fights. Thanks to this, I got to witness Naruto hit Kabuto with a Rasengan at all 3 angles. Orochimaru and Kabuto are basically a more competent Team Rocket at this point. The two of them just won't die, especially Kabuto. You have till chapter 400 to kill this nigga off. Please, send this man to hell. I'm on my knees begging. I don't want to see Kabuto's face anymore. Take his life. Now, my Kabuto hating aside, the heart of this arc comes from the character it is centered around, the gambling addict Tsunade, who I think is a great addition to the cast. A person seemingly unable to overcome their trauma. Like, everyone in Naruto just has an extremely tragic backstory. If you have a loved one, they're dying. So similar to every other character in this series, Tsunade has some mental block that through Naruto's unbreakable spirit inspires her to give life a second chance. And this all pays off with a cathartic moment of her stating that from here on out it's my life on the line, taking on the role of the 5th Hokage Hokage, finally taking that risk again to believe in someone else's dream, with Tsunade wishing for Naruto to become a great man and more importantly, a great Hokage. It's a cute ending to the arc. I'll be honest though, I could see someone being annoyed with how frequently Naruto was integral to a lot of characters' development in the series. Personally, I don't have an issue with it right now, but I could see it becoming repetitive as the series goes on. I'm hoping in the future there's at least one arc including an antagonist that is just evil for the sake of being evil and Naruto can't save them. Maybe that's what Orochimaru is going to be, but I'll find out in the future. Back to Tsunade, she's kind of like Naruto's big sister at this point, so I like the found family trope that is happening with this series so far. I will add though that I'm slightly concerned about how Tsunade will be handled moving forward because I am under the impression that her character is complete at this point. I think Kishimoto will just keep her around to inevitably sacrifice herself for Naruto's safety in a later arc, which is probably the best move, but we'll see how this comment ages. Also, by the way, I like that while Tsunade is primarily a healer, she can fight as well. Like, Tsunade can throw hands. None of this mimosa and Orihime foolishness. Bless your soul, Kishimoto, because that was my biggest worry. Now, the next arc on the list is the Sasuke recovery arc. I am so happy that I finally complete this video because now I can start reading that arc. I've had to hold myself back for a week. This arc starts at volume 20 called Naruto vs Sasuke, so when I read that title I was hyped. I need to see Naruto beat the bricks off Sasuke. That will bring me joy. Now, before I end the video, I just want to take a moment to thank all of my channel members for going above and beyond to support the channel. Currently, it's only one member, Loki Bentio, at the highest membership level of Legendary Blader, which is just insane as a first channel member. So moving forward, if you ever see one of my channel members in the comments of a video, I want you to reply to them with the phrase W individual to spread some love. If you stuck around till the end of the video, I just want you to know that I appreciate you. And if you want to talk to me about anime related topics, join my Discord server. Also consider becoming a channel member, another way to support me, and I support you back with shoutouts at the end of the video, early access to new videos, custom emotes, and members only videos depending on which level of membership you decide to choose. And if you're someone that enjoys anime content that keeps it real, consider subscribing so when I hit 10k, you can brag about being a day one. I gotta get back in the kitchen to cook. Peace.